My name's Kirsty Hassard and I'm a curator at V&A Dundee. My pronouns are she, her, and today I'm here to talk about Night Fever, which was the exhibition that I've been working on, which opened at V&A Dundee in May and is with us until January 2022. So today I'm here to answer questions that have been worked on by the museum's Young People's Collective that they did in a session with the museum's LGBTQ working group to learn more about queer spaces and LGBTQ themes that run through the exhibition.
What were the key features and atmospheres of past clubs compared to now? How has their meaning changed?
And I think the main thing that I really took away from this and from working on the show was this idea of safe spaces, which you see very much in the 70s and 80s. But I think what is really interesting is what you see happening at the moment. So very much this change from very static spaces like gay bars and queer clubs to nightlife spaces that are being completely built from scratch, built from the bottom. And this recognition that's coming through that a queer space isn't so much defined by a building or by an address, but by the people who inhabit it.
We can see the roots of mainstream drag culture within clubs such as London's Kinky Girlinky. How has drag changed after appearing in popular media?
So I think there's actually two ways or two opinions really that you can look at for this. So some people's opinion, for example, is that only a certain type of drag has become mainstream. And with that, there's the issue that if drag appeals to a wider audience, then it might lose some of its vital political and subversive power. Obviously, there's this idea of the commercialization of drag that the commercial industry has started to tap into with global brands from MAC to Facebook. And then very much this discord as well between what is being celebrated on screen and what drag queens are experiencing in the street. Very much this idea too that an increased visibility, but at the same time also this closure of the many famous clubs and pubs that supported the community, particularly in London.
New York's Paradise Garage is noted as being a catalyst in the development of disco. How have LGBTQ+ clubs influenced larger movements of music in and out with nightlife?
As has been noted in the question, New York is really one of the key cities to look at in this. I really look back to a space called The Loft that a man called David Mancuso. So back in 1972, he was hosting private parties in his apartment, and he was a DJ promoter and a master of ceremonies from the beginning to the end of the night. And he presided over a crowd of mixed sexualities, gender expressions, ethnicities, and social classes. So by the end of that decade, the end of the 70s, disco had gained popularity and developed a larger presence in nighttime economy into a mainstream, larger audience of white, straight, and middle class. You start to get purpose-built clubs that celebrated this and predominantly played disco music, such as Studio 54 and Paradise Garage. So Paradise Garage catered to a predominantly queer, black, Latin American crowd, and DJ Larry Levan, who's featured in the exhibition, developed a distinctive sound to play to the crowd. It's called garage. So it was a mix of disco, R&B, funk and soul, and what we know as garage music, which then transfers into house music, is basically from that.
Considering a lot of voices in the club scene of the 1980s were lost during the AIDS crisis, how have queer spaces evolved differently?
I found this question incredibly difficult to answer, and I think this has actually been pointed out by my colleague Lauren, is that in the exhibition there is an image of a club called Area. You can look at it and basically see how many people were involved in that club who then ended dying of AIDS. So I don't think we really know the answer to this question, but I think it's just really something that should be recognised a lot more, that essentially a whole generation of men died, and obviously the massive impact that had. I don't think we even now really know what the impact of their influence on these spaces might have been. Just a completely lost generation.
What can we take from the club designs featured in Night Fever to celebrate queer culture today?
When you go to the exhibition, I think you just see the amazing amazing figures who are very much part of the LGBTQ community, who are involved in nightclub design, whether that was Keith Haring, who painted murals for the walls of nightclubs and designed invitations for clubs, and obviously was very much present within the clubs. And more recently, the Belgian fashion designer Walter van Beirendonck, whose fashion designs were very much creating this look in the 90s that was very much intertwined with LGBTQ culture. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope you're able to come along to the exhibition. We're on until January 2022. Thank you so much.